Good morning. We are Conglomerate Consulting. My name is Peter.
My name is Valentina.
Anthony. Nick.
I'm Leanne.
And I'm John.
And this morning we will be presenting to the board and distinguished guests about Target Corporation. Firstly, we'd like to bring you through how we're going to move through the session. Firstly, going through the current state of Target, some of the short-term considerations which my teammates will present. Then we'll move into the larger issues and our own recommendations for improvement, specifically the internationalization, Target Clinic, Target Ticket, and Target Subscription. Lastly, we'll offer some closing thoughts. So the current state of Target, as the board well knows, over the past several years there's been some slow market growth. The over-diversification of items within the different areas in the corporation, the recent international move to Canada, which has been a positive aspect for the company, the relaunch of Target.com in 2011, and the forays into apps, which again we will speak to later. The sales of the credit arm, which Q3, 2 weeks ago, was netted the company $5.7 billion, and we realized the board plans to reinvest an approximate $5.2 billion into the long-term debt payoff, which my teammate Lin-Yan will discuss later. And lastly, the beginning of the Target Clinic option, which we will discuss soon. And now we'll move on to Lin-Yan and Val, who will discuss the short-term considerations.
Thank you, Peter. One of the short-term considerations is the flat sales of your apparel sector. We think although you put a lot of effort to cooperate with the designers and the fashion brands to bring the customer your exclusive brand and designer collection, the sales was flat compared to other sectors. We found one of the problems is that the visual merchandising in your store is more like a normal discount instead of like fashion. The fashion sense you always promoted in for your apparel sector. So we suggest that you could hire the visual merchandising team, use their design ability to leverage the visual merchandising, the display, the design of the display of your products, make the whole fashion section, apparel section more fashionable, more attractive to the customers, and also they can do the mix and match on the models to leverage your cross-selling and upselling for the whole retail, for the whole apparel sector.
So you know that Target actually did not meet its expectations in Target Canada. However, from our research, we do believe that Target is still on the right track to meeting these expectations in the long term. We do suggest moving forward that Target continues to partner with local designers and local suppliers like Roots, as well as bringing in other designers and other suppliers. We also suggest that Target educates its consumers in Canada that Target is a one-stop shop for all shopping needs, not just a store that people go to every 2 weeks, but a store that you could go to every single day for all shopping needs. And now, John is going to discuss all of our suggestions.
So just to introduce where we're about to go, we have suggestions and recommendations for 4 areas where we've seen issues. First will be a discussion of the Target Ticket streaming service. Next, we're going to discuss an expansion of the Target Clinic, retail clinic situation that includes hiring nurse practitioners within the stores. I'm going to come back and discuss the Target subscription service, and then my remaining teammates are going to discuss the internationalization plans we have for your store.
Okay, so I'll be talking about Target Ticket, the online video streaming service, and how the market is a very tough market to enter in right now. One, supplier power is very high as more competitors enter the market. It actually gives more powers to the production companies and the cable companies for leveraging towards them. Next, competition is obviously very high with competitors such as Netflix, Amazon Prime, Walmart's Vudu, and Hulu. New entrance is low because it is a relatively high cost to enter the market, and Target is the latest entrance into this market. Substitution is very high. People have different avenues of media they can still use, DVDs, Blu-rays, other streaming services, or anything on their mobile device. Firepower is also very high because switching costs are low. There's not really much of a difference going between Netflix subscription service to Amazon's pay to buy a movie or to rent a movie. So, Target Ticket, it's a hard industry to get into right now. Just to be competitive, Target would have to put in $1 billion to compete, and Target has no real competencies in this. So our recommendation is to drop Target Ticket and use the savings to bolster some of our other recommendations, which we'll be speaking to later. With that, I will pass off to Nick.
Thanks, Anthony. So next I will talk about our second recommendation, the expansion of the Target Clinic. So there's currently 54 Target clinics offering low-cost service to the non-urgent patients without appointments. So I'll go through a few retail clinic industry facts quickly. So there's 1,500 retail clinics in the market currently, and grows at around 50% annually, and there will be 3,200 retail clinics by 2016. And the current opportunity for this is the Affordable Care Act, which will bring 32 million newly insured population by 2014, which will induce a huge amount potential visit to the retail clinics. And why Target will go to expand in this industry is because Target's core competency. So the report from Deloitte revealed that there's around 20% users of retail clinics that they are unsatisfied because they met the unfriendly professionals in the clinic, while Target is famous for its fast, fun, and friendly customer service. And also, Target has already established the close bond with local hospitals and community, which makes them easier to penetrate the market. And the main competitors are mini clinics from CVS, and there's around 650 out there, and 100 Walmart clinics, and around 400 healthcare clinics from Walgreens. And we estimate the initial investment for this project is $520 million, which would recommend to open 50 standalone Target clinics, and also equip all the Target store with Target clinics over the 3-year timeline. And eventually, we believe it will generate $1.7 billion annual revenue. And also, the long-term goal for this is to reorganize Target Clinic, Target Optical, and Target Pharmacy into the Target Health unit and expand the service gradually. And next, I will pass to John to talk about Target subscription.
Okay, so as you're well aware, Target recently announced Target Subscription, which is a plan for customers to be able to set up regular deliveries of goods they need to their home. This is in direct competition to Amazon's Subscribe and Save, which has been in place since about 2007, and we view this as a very serious place where Target can gain a large foothold against the online industry. Moving into a SWOT analysis, we see that in the strengths column for Target, there's a very large product mix that can be leveraged against Amazon. Amazon right now is offering about 65,000 products for regular home or office delivery, whereas Target is offering 99 out of a promised 150 only in the baby goods sector. Obviously, we see great potential for this, and with the established brand of Target, we see customers coming to buy things from Target and get their regular deliveries as soon as you decide to offer them. Target already has the competency in in-store pickups and delivery service, so we don't see this as an issue moving forward to getting this off the ground. The weaknesses against which you'll have to leverage are a lack of optimization within your distribution centers. Currently, those are set up for pallet deliveries to stores. We want to see over the course of time as this program grows to see that move into something that can be optimized both for store delivery and home delivery. But for the time being, we see it as totally possible, given the in-store pickup option currently offered, for stores to be doing the brunt of the setup for this right now with an addition of maybe 1 or 2 more employees. And this will allow local stores to get what people need to their homes. Unfortunately, Amazon currently has the shipping prowess. Target has some alliances with UPS or FedEx. That needs to be grown in order for this to succeed. The threats that Target's going to have to work again are Amazon's control of the market. But we think that with everything I mentioned in the strengths, that can be easily controlled as soon as Target offers more products. So the opportunity is a greatly growing market, as well as some brand mismanagement and missteps by Amazon in 2012 that we think can be used to expand Target's move into the market. Now we're going to move into the internationalization idea, starting with Peter.
So as my teammates have elucidated so far, there are some domestic options that we have recommended which will most certainly help in the near future and into the long-term future. However, we would be remiss without noting the internationalization options, which we have rolled out as a three-phase option for your consideration. So firstly, Val will speak about phase 1 of the internationalization operations.
So right now, as you know, there are only 8 city targets across the country. We suggest creating more city targets near local international airports. We want to also have city targets at all international airports, or a vast majority of international airports abroad as well, to develop brand awareness abroad. With city target near domestic international airports, it will bring urban dwellers to city target that is near the airports, as well as one of the first things that tourists from abroad see as they're approaching their hotels that they might be trying to get to after they enter the airport, after they leave the airport. And then for city targets abroad, it's a comfort zone for our visitors, for domestic shoppers going abroad. And phase 2 is City Aero, which Peter Cody is going to talk about.
So the next phase is Target Aero, which we have suggested and the conglomerate has come up with for the international airport expansion. Now, the Target Aero would be a within-airport retail location, so within the actual terminals themselves in the international airports abroad. And why move into this market? Because it's growing very quickly, 15% over the last 5 years, nearing a $50 billion overall industry, which is quite high. Now, airports are seeking operators for their internal locations with high revenue generation, high financial standing, i.e. companies like Target. Now, this would not be an overall rollout to a majority or a vast majority of international airports. This would only be in select markets, and the stores themselves would be scaled down. So they would not be offering everything that a traditional brick-and-mortar Target store would offer. This would simply be select items, and as I'll get to later, mainly the cosmetic and fashion offerings, as these are the highest margin and those which bring the most money in the retail sector aside from alcoholic purchases in the duty-free area. Now, why this is a great consideration for Target is also the secondary factor of data mining and information marketing. As we well know, when individuals are moving through these airport terminals and on their way through traveling, there's a vast majority of, or I should say a vast amount of information given and taken in. This can be used in a variety of regards, but mainly for the data mining purposes for not only the Target Aero locations, what to put in the stores, how to market certain seasonal activities, but also for the general brick-and-mortar stores, and more specifically, tying back into our phase 1 operation of the city targets located near the international airports, which can use this information to better their product offers, leverage against competitors, and also, in the case of globalization, mitigate against some risks, as we've seen in other companies who have not done so, which have not succeeded in the internationalization move. And again, the average spend of these customers moving through the international airports is $75 per traveler per visit, which is quite high. So the potential is there. And again, at Target Aero, we will be focusing on mainly cosmetic and fashion offerings. And now I'll pass it off to Lin Yan, who will finalize our phases with the main internationalization plan.
Thank you, Peter. Although we don't suggest Target to enter the Brazil market in the short term because of the capital intensive after you just enter the Canadian market, we do think that Brazil is a good option for the further expansion, global expansion. The reason why we choose Brazil is the first, according to AP Currency about the Global Retail Development Country Index, Brazil tops for 3 years for this rank. This means that it is considered one of the greatest country for the global retail sector. And the Brazil market is worth $230 billion, which is very attractive, and the high employment and greater credit for the middle class ensure great purchase power for their consumers. And also, Brazilian, in terms of the consumer behavior, the Brazilian consumers, they are more open to using the credits and compared to the consumers in other emerging markets like China and India. We prefer to save instead of spend money. Here we listed the top 10 firms in Brazil, retail firms, include global players like Carrefour and Walmart. Here we can see the top 10, they account for 60% of the total sales. So the market is highly competitive and concentrated. So, and that's why we suggest you to enter this market by joint venture with the big players or acquisition instead of open your direct store there, because it will be very difficult for you to find a good location. For example, the largest Americanas, they have market cap about $7.2 billion. They have great locations, 390 stores, supermarket stores, and 238 express stores. And they have the annual sales about $5 billion. So we think this could be a good price for the further step of global expansion. And now I'll pass to Peter and John to talk about our closing thoughts.
So as we've seen throughout the presentation, we have recommendations for Target which we believe will be positive aspects for the future of the company. Namely, firstly, as we've known, the flat sales in apparel, we seek to recommend and fix for that, which is the visual merchandising and increased marketing spend on those designers and closer relationships with the design partnerships in Canada, as well as the local stores, local brands such as Roots in Canada. The removal of the Target ticket service will allow the company to leverage different areas with the larger recommendations we have, because as we feel, there's not enough competency in that area, and the entry level and the different competitive analyses are very difficult to enter. And then lastly, boosting the Target Clinic, which for an estimated $520 million investment, returning a $1.7 billion, again over the 3-year plan, and making the Target Health option by combining pharmacy, optical, and the clinic by reducing areas of the store which are not profitable at this time.
We've also suggested to you that you expand the subscription service currently in the pilot process. We think that's a great move forward and a great way to move against Amazon. And finally, our internationalization ideas in the 3-phase process of expanding the City Target ideas to spread tourism and spread the brand, then move into in-airport retail with Target Aero, and finally a long-term expansion into Latin America beginning with Brazil, which we see as a great open market. We'd like to thank the distinguished judges, professors, and our fellow students for coming to listen to us today, and we invite any questions. Thank you.
Moving out of the video, okay, that's a big concern. You talk about it, we want an everyday touch with the customer. That, which I see the streaming video, was a huge opportunity, and you're just walking away from that. Can you give us any other options? Is there anybody we should be partnering with? Rather than just say, let's give up.
Well, currently, right now, Target is partnered with a private LA company that's only on ratings, and Yes, it's mostly on ratings to give it a little more edge or a little added effect in compared to like Amazon and all those. But there is opportunity, but the way Target relaunched Target.com and the way the mobile apps have been going, Target's technological innovations have not boded well for them. Target.com only accounts for 10% of their revenue. 10% of their revenue. Also, the fact that Netflix has 35% of the market share, and even big players like Amazon and Vudu only have 1%. So you're fighting for a percent of a market in an area that is just not strong for Target. So yes, dropping it would be a good idea.
And we do see Target subscription as a great way to try and expand day-to-day connection with the consumers.
The other ideas with the city stores and the airport stores. Airports typically do a rev share, which is extremely expensive, and as well as the square foot rented of the areas you're looking into. The return on investment is great currently. What does this do to us?
In terms of Target Aero, the specific locations abroad are, again, the setup is similar to domestic revenue sharing, but specifically to our recommendations for moving into the Brazilian or Latin American markets, which would be the first foray. The new construction in these areas, and again, as you mentioned, I mean, the return on investment needs to be profitable, but I think that the locations within the airports, again, because we're not going to be a large, it's not going to be a large square footage, and the numbers that and the data that we calculated indicate that it would be a positive profit value for Target to open up these smaller locations, and kind of as a precursor to the city Target locations, which would be right outside. So it may not long-term be something that would be continued further, but as long as a kind of a first step toward integrating the city Targets and then eventual long-term global expansion with the larger stores in those countries.
The other question I have is on the same-day delivery. Probably in the city markets to go against what Amazon's trying to do. I think it said 1 or 2 people per store. There's a lot of infrastructure that's going to be needed system-wise. I would hope it's way more than 1 or 2 people to pick an order for that type of business and getting into that kind of growth.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you. It's not actually same-day delivery. They have delivery every 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, or 12 weeks. So it allows for advanced preparation.
Essential auto delivery is what it is.
Okay. And you would pick out of the stores or out of local DCs?
At the beginning, we plan on recommending that it comes out of individual stores because the distribution centers are not yet optimized for that. As we said, they're making pallet deliveries to the store. But as the program grows, obviously there will be more people subscribing. At that point, we'd recommend construction of new distribution centers or re-optimization of existing ones to be able to handle that. Amazon's distribution centers right now are obviously already set up for individual deliveries. When the Target reaches the point that they need it, then they should build. But in the meanwhile, the subscriptions, they haven't released what their current subscriptions are. It's only been in place for about 2 months. But it's minimal and it's only baby goods, so it's a step-by-step process.
So do you think we should leverage our stores as a DC, considering they're so much closer to every customer? That's the advantage of Amazon.
Right, that's what we were suggesting, is that individual stores would begin with the deliveries for the time being.